Hi, my name is Susan Cranston, and I'm the host of Authentik You, a talk show that features people who've made changes in their life to follow a more authentic path. We all have hopes and dreams, but all too often, we don't pay attention to those needs or to the deep calling of our subconscious. Sometimes it's easier to go through the motions and not challenge ourselves to live our life to the fullest. We can live an authentic life, one that brings us joy and a sense of purpose. If we focus with determination, we can make anything happen. It's all a matter of deciding how much we want to make our dream a reality. Today's guests are two inspiring women that I've come to know and admire greatly. They both have had a long and highly successful career, each in different fields, but both with deep and influential connections in our community. Both of my guests have recently transitioned from a career they've been in for many years. Both women have much to share about their transition, what their experiences have been like, as well as tips for others who may be thinking about retirement or a significant life event change. On today's episode, I'm pleased to welcome the founder of Grand River Personnel, Linda Dancey, and former Rogers TV producer, and also the former producer of Authentik You, Karen McLaughlin. Linda and Karen, thank you so much for joining me today on Authentik You.
Thank you.
Now, you've both been through, welcome. You've both been through some, well, maybe a little bit longer for you, Linda, transition. And for you, Karen, it's very, very recent as
I'm
of...
a newbie.
You're a newbie as of what, you're on day 3 now?
Yeah.
Is that it? Well, welcome to the next chapter in your life.
Thank you.
So Linda, let's start with you. So you've been through the transition now in terms of moving from being the founder of Grand River Personnel, and you started this back in the late 70s, right?
Yes. 1978.
1978, when you were really, really young.
Yeah.
Just a baby at that time.
Just a baby.
Just a baby. So what's that been like for you? Did you contemplate the transition for a while? And were you thinking about it and sort of planning to make the transition happen? Tell us a little bit about what that experience was like for you.
Yes, absolutely. I was thinking about it for several years, to be honest. And then I think about 3 years ago, I finally got the courage to talk about it with my family, and which was emotional. And then we just kind of moved from that stage, then going to speak with the lawyer and the accountant. And the first meeting with the lawyer, I had just held the box of Kleenex tissue. That was all I could do. But as time has evolved, I've become more comfortable with the entire process, and I'm very, very happy that I've made the decision, and I'm also very blessed that I was able to make the transition with my own family, that I didn't have to sell my company to a complete stranger and end up working for strangers. Knowing that my family are there, taking the business to another level is very, very meaningful.
So your daughter and your son-in-law
Correct.
are now carrying on your legacy in the business, and that's got to give you some peace of mind and great comfort.
Absolutely.
In knowing
absolutely. My son-in-law, Chris, has been with Grand River for 21 years, and Kim was there many years ago, and then she had the girls, Sarah and Jenna, and then after they were in school and set to go, she came back, and so yeah, it's really quite perfect in that respect.
That's fantastic. But again, it's been planning on your part. This isn't something that you just, woke up one morning and said, that's it, I'm going to, transition. And I'm careful not to use the word retire, particularly for both of you, because you're very dynamic, engaging women who've had, dream big and you make great things happen. So I really look at this as just a transition into sort of the next chapter of your life. And there is a real, and you touched on this, Linda, an emotional element to making this, and it's probably bigger than most people think, and that's not necessarily talked about quite a lot. And I do want to explore that a bit more. So as we go through our time together, I hope we can touch on that a little bit. So you've had probably up to a year now to start, going through the different phases of what this transition's been like for you.
Yes.
And Karen, this is freshly hatched.
Yes,
right?
it is.
So how are you feeling at this point? Linda's a little further down in the spectrum right now. What are you feeling like at this point?
Well, it's been on my mind for about 2.5 years. again, I don't know if it's getting older or just the way the industry changes, but the stress was getting greater. And I just thought, then, you start thinking about your health and, where do I want to go from this point? How long will I last and stay healthy? So for about 2.5 years, I seriously thought about it. And I thought, well, at 15 years, I did daytime, which was that daily grind of a daily talk show. And you're working with volunteers, and I mean, they're wonderful volunteers, co-op students, they were just terrific. But there was a constant change. So you're constantly training. And so I decided that after 15 seasons of daytime, I thought maybe it's time for a change. So I went to my manager and we decided I would go part-time and I would produce access programming, which of course the first Authentik You was. And I thought, this is a dream come true. This is terrific. And I got to do a cooking show as well. And but then I really seriously started thinking about, is it time? And I didn't want to retire, and I had to talk to my husband a lot about it and my daughter. And finally last April, I just thought, it's time. It's time. I had one more project given, another second series of Chef D. And I thought, what, it's time for me to say goodbye. But about 2 weeks before, I had a bit of an anxiety attack. I just thought, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm not going to have a job. Who am I going to be? And even Thursday, we had a party, and I thought, oh, I don't know if I want to do this or not now. But being home for a couple days, and I know I made the right decision.
Well, you sort of get it's not an epiphany, but closure, or a sense of, yeah, this is what I need to do. So it's one of those things where you feel at peace, I guess, as you're going through this emotional evolution through that experience.
Well, I was just going to say, this is the second time it's been for me. So I guess I'm a little used to it, but because I was in the music business for so many years, and then that period ended, and I actually went back to school to study broadcasting, so that became my second career. And this year, my daughter got married, and we bought a home in Florida. So I thought, this is perfect timing.
There are a lot of life events that were happening around you that you probably want to dig into a bit more. When we come back from the break, I want to hear more about your past, and also, what you're planning to do in the next little while. But you've got such an incredible history, even aside from being a Rogers producer, and a fabulous one for me on Authentik You. And Linda, there's so many exciting things that you're doing now, and the goals that you're working toward, and I really want to hear about that after we come back from the break. So stay with us, and we'll be right back with Authentik You. Hi, I'm Susan Cranston, the host of Authentik You, and thanks for joining us. We're here with Linda Dancey, the former president of Grand River Personnel, as well as my former producer here on Authentik You, Karen McLaughlin, also producer for Rogers TV. And we've just been talking about a transition from a role that both of them have been in, it's both in separate careers. I've just been asking about the emotional significance of making these changes and knowing when you're ready. And what was this, when you think ahead, what is the thing that you were most looking forward to when you're making the transition? Was it one point in your mind that you sort of zoned in on or targeted on, or was it just the idea of it in general terms?
I think for me, I knew that from a business perspective, I needed to make this decision. Because if something would happen to me, I would leave my family in just a dreadful situation to sort through. So I really wanted to take care of that. And secondly, both Kim and Chris have been involved with Grand River Personnel for such a large number of years that really and truly they deserve the opportunity to take it to the next level and be who they can best be. So that kind of left me being a little bit like a teenager, wondering, okay, now who am I? What do I do? Where do I belong? And as we went through the various stages, I can remember Kim and Chris saying, well, nothing's changed. Just keep doing what you've always done. But it had changed, and I had to accept that. And it did take me a while to figure out who is Linda, and what will my life look like going forward. And after a period of time, I realized that I really feel that I do have a contribution that I can make to society. And so I started to really investigate other options and opportunities.
And you've done a lot of that, and we're going to touch on that in a second. Karen, I just want to ask you the same question. Was there something that you talked about life event changes, your daughter getting married, a home in Florida. Were those the primary drivers for you? And you talked about, a lot of the industry changing and the stress.
The driving force for me was stress.
The stress.
The stress. I had to seriously look at that. When you're sitting there and you're thinking you're getting these major chest pains, and you're going, okay, what's happening here? Is this my heart? And again, and you have those sleepless nights, and even when you would go on holidays, all you could think of was, what am I coming back to? And I got into television because I wanted to have fun. And yes, it is a job. The reality is it is a job. But again, just as time goes on, and it's a huge responsibility, producing a talk show. And I loved it here. Rogers is a terrific company. Financially, I did well by them. Benefit-wise, again, I can't say enough great things about them. But I think I was just looking at the next act of my life, the third act of my life, and it's like, okay, what do I want to do now? Is there anything? I don't want to hit my deathbed and go, oh, I should have done this. And I didn't want to have any regrets. And I thought, I can always come back and volunteer. But I thought it was just time for me to make that change and see if there's anything else out there for me. And I'd like to volunteer, do something at the Humane Society and contribute that way. And yeah.
Well, that's terrific, and I hope you'll consider coming back and being here with us on Authentik You, because and David's doing a great job for us. I love having him here, but it would be lovely to see you here again. And I'm so glad you could be here as a guest on Authentik You.
I'm honored to be here. Honored.
That's terrific. You mentioned the Humane Society, and that's something too in terms of next steps and what you can do to contribute. Linda, are you on the board, or you're very actively involved in the community in a number of ways? But the Humane Society is one that's near and dear to your heart.
Yeah. Yes.
So did that ramp up for you in terms of your community involvement as you transitioned, or did you pick your spots? Tell us a little bit about what community involvement has meant to you in this transition stage.
Well, I think as I moved into the transition, I was overwhelmed with this feeling of, at last I can give back to the community, because the community has been so amazing to Grand River personnel. And so I really wanted to give back. And when you're operating a company on a day-to-day basis, that opportunity to be super involved with various organizations that just simply doesn't exist. So I was always involved with the Human Resources Association, and the Humane Society is one. The Chamber of Commerce, I hugely support the Chamber, because they do so many wonderful things for our business community. And Random Act of Kindness and Kitchener-Westmount Rotary Club.
Wow, just a few things.
Just a few things.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
And there's something else that you're working toward. You have a goal that you're working to achieve. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. In probably about 3 weeks, I will have completed my certification as a yoga instructor. And I've been working on that now for just a little over a year. And I'm just so thrilled and so excited. That whole journey has been absolutely amazing. I had been involved in yoga a large number of years ago and started to get my certification, but I couldn't do that along with operating the company. So I had to put it on the back burner. And being who I was, I perceived that as being a failure. And so I really didn't do a lot with yoga for a few years, and it kept coming back. I kept thinking about what could I do, and so I had a colleague in Human Resources that had told me she had taken her certification from Blue Heron Studio in Guelph, so I reached out to Rita, and I was a little concerned that maybe my age might disqualify me, but anyway, she embraced me, and it's just been absolutely wonderful. I've really, really enjoyed it. There's been a tremendous amount for me to learn. There have been points in time when I have asked myself, why am I doing this to myself? Because I've gone from a profession where I felt like I was very confident. I was looked upon as a good resource, and I've gone into something where my window of knowledge is just so tiny. And so you go from being that person and resourceful person that people come to all the time to that person that I'm the one that's going out asking all the time. But that's exciting because I know I've got something I can keep learning, and yoga has so many facets to it that it's never ending.
It's remarkable that you're doing that, and I'm really excited about this phase for you, for this accomplishment, and I look forward to becoming your student.
All right.
So you'll have to make
That will
sure
be
we
awesome.
find out, and we'll post that on our Authentik You end page and on our website to let everyone know how they can reach out and learn yoga from you.
Thank
So
you. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, that'll be exciting, and
Yes.
I'm thrilled and so inspired by you working toward this goal, because I know it's something that you've wanted to do, and you're going to be able to contribute greatly in a very profound way to many people. And Karen, I want to when we come back from the break, I want to hear about your history, because you've done so much, and I think that's going to be an inspiration for many, and also all the transferable skills that you have that I think will help. You might find that you'll go down a path that you'll draw on some of those experiences that you've had in the past. Who knows?
Right.
You never know.
Now I just have to clean my house.
Sounds great. Stay with us. We'll be right back here in Authentik You. Hi, I'm Susan Cranston, and we're back here in Authentik You with my guests Karen McLaughlin and Linda Dancey. And we've been talking about transitioning in career. And just before the break, Karen, we were talking about me wanting to ask you about your, I was going to say, illustrious past. And you have actually a star on the walk.
A star walk.
A star walk.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about your background? And aside from being a producer with Rogers, there was a time, other than today when you're on Authentik You, that you were in front of the camera, that you were performing for people. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, it goes back to my Project People days, way back when in the 70s, and we did a lot of touring, played Ontario Place, the Royal York, traveled with Bill Davis during the election, and decided, I have an identical twin sister, so we decided maybe this would be an opportunity for us to grab onto. So I had moved out to Vancouver but come back. She was modeling, and we got this call from a gentleman wanting to have twins as backup singers. So we went and auditioned, and he went, "You're not bad, but I can teach you." And on the road we went in a dilapidated old car, and our first job, it was in Kingsville, Ontario. I'll never forget it. We were terrible. We were just bad. But we stayed with it and joined several groups and we hosted some music shows on CHCH. And then we were our music tastes were changing. So we decided that my sister wanted to go more rock and roll. I was coming back here, so I thought, well, maybe country would be an opportunity for us. So off she went, and she went up to Deerhurst and did the Vegas show there for a while. Decided that it wasn't for her, left, and this young girl named Eileen came in and took her place, Shania Twain.
Oh,
that was her claim to fame. I went to do country and got to work with a wonderful producer named Rick Hutt, and recorded a couple of singles, and got to play at Lulu's when it was in its heyday and open up for Chubby Checker and Tanya Tucker and Jerry Lee Lewis. So I really thought I was at the pinnacle. And then I started to have voice problems. Back then there was smoke in the room, and so and I had gotten married and had my daughter, and I thought, maybe it's time for a change. I can't continue this way. So decided to go back to school and study broadcasting because I thought I love television. So did that and graduated. The hardest 3 years of my life. I had no idea what to expect when I took that course, and left a few classes crying because I thought, oh my gosh, I've chosen the wrong career. This is not what I thought it was going to be. And luckily graduated and worked for Wilfrid Laurier for 2 years, and then had my own company, and decided I was awfully lonely in that place, and I was going through a divorce and everything too. So Rogers was starting up this new talk show called Daytime, and I thought, wow, I can still continue the work I'm doing, and then I can volunteer. To move to Toronto was out of the question at the time. And so I started, and I was here basically 8 hours a day as a volunteer, helping out the producer Lawrence McNaught back then, and learned the ins and outs. And he decided to leave, and I was just at the right place at the right time. That was 1998.
You've had an incredible journey and many great experiences, met really famous people too. Had an opportunity to really be in the spotlight. So you've already gone through some transitions that you've described. Right. As you said, this is your third act. I think it's just another act.
Yeah.
For sure. So what would you say, what are some tips that you would give someone who is considering a transition, whether it would be sort of, gearing down a bit or just making a change in career? What advice would you give them?
Oh, plan ahead. Really think about what you want to do. Maybe kind of make a pro and con list. Why should I stay? Should I go? What do I want to do when I grow up? You really kind of have to think of that. I think because I'm now on that flip side of 50, that, and again, I don't want to sound morose, but really I'm looking at that third act and, what do I want to do? I'm so grateful that I got to do a little bit of everything. But I did have a dream as a kid, and that was to work for the CBC. And if I have one regret, I wish I would have gone for it, because now I don't know if it's feasible, but, I might give it a shot. But that was, to work for the CBC as a kid. I grew up in North Bay, and you got two channels, CBC English, CBC French. That was it. So that's what I grew up with. So that was a dream that I had that I, if I could fulfill, I think I'd do that.
Well, here in Authentik You, that's what we talk about, right? It's about making sure you dust off those dreams, and it's not whether or not you can do it, it's how badly you want it to happen. And I think given, all of your transferable skills, everything you've done, I encourage you to go for it, because I think you'd be fabulous
Okay,
at it.
I'm going to do it.
Just do that, and then come back when you're on.
Okay.
Or have us on. And Linda, the same for you. So now you've got the yoga, and I'm looking forward to you being my instructor. Namaste.
Namaste.
And so what tips or advice would you give someone who's considering transitioning?
Well, I think you definitely have to have a plan, but the one thing I have learned, I think when you come from business, you're so used to such a concrete plan from start to finish, and I have learned that you have to let go of the outcome. You can do a certain amount towards your goals, but there is a piece that you ultimately have to let the universe take care of. And that was huge for me, because I was so used to this is a starting point, and this is where I will end up, and this is the length of time it will take. And if I were to do that, I would end up right back where I was back in 1978. And that's not exactly the type of journey I want to be on at this point in time. Yes, I do want to make a valid contribution to the lives of many, many people, but I also want to be able to and not have to wake up in the middle of the night worrying about the financial statement or whatever.
Yes.
And so that, I think that's huge. But yeah, establishing your goals, but being prepared to let go of the outcome and let the universe take care of some.
You put it out there and then let, be open to what's going to happen for you.
Absolutely.
I think you both shared amazing advice, and I'm really honored to know both of you. I love you ladies. I think you're amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm just looking forward to staying in touch with both of you, finding out about your journey. I want to make sure we blog about it on Authentik You, and I think that you're just incredible ladies, and it's a privilege to know you and to have you here on Authentik You.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
So thank you, too, for joining us today on Authentik You. And there are many ways you could have spent the last 30 minutes, and I'm delighted that you chose to spend it with us. If you'd like more information about our guests or about Authentik You, please connect with us at AuthentikYou.com and be social with us on Facebook or on Twitter at Authentik You. And that's Authentic with a K. And special thanks for set design by David Boyes, hair by Scott Keller of So Chic, and makeup and jewelry by Jen Havinga of Distinct Boutique. Finally, thanks to my fabulous crew here at Rogers TV. Thanks for watching, and remember, it's always a great day to be your authentic self.